And we were on agenda item 3, I think, was, we had it here a minute ago. From the, budget workshop, review and possible action on the fiscal year budget. So,
Is it okay if I read the email? Okay. This is from Commissioner Dyer. She said, "There's absolute zero reason for us not to add the detective position to the police force. Jeremy has proven himself to be an excellent leader in chief. He would not ask for this position if he did not feel like it was absolutely necessary. Many people may have an opinion that there is not enough crime here in the island. That used to be the way. However, crime is increasing every corner of the earth. Unfortunately, most people don't value personal property and think everything is there for the taking for their monetary gain. Jeremy presented the information in the workshop when he presented his department needs. The proof of crime has increased over the years is there. Again, he is asking for a tool he needs to make our police force even more efficient. Please don't take this information lightly and think that we are not at target. Many property owners think they have provided or protected their property by placing cameras. However, if we don't have a detective position, these hours of film cannot be investigated. The beaches around us have already implemented detective positions. We'd be setting ourselves and our property owners up to fail if we don't do this. They presented a balanced budget that includes this position. We exhausted line item by line item through the workshops. Please move forward with this budget. Our employees have worked hard and they need to continue to do their jobs by moving on to other projects. Once again, please listen to the property owners. They're the ones that will suffer if this position is removed from the department. I did not receive any comments against this position, and there's no reason the town cannot afford this. We can't afford not to."
okay. And were there other public comments?
Well, we have a package, but that was,
No, for this meeting? Oh, we're
Oh,
already,
technically, we're past the public comment point in the meeting since we're at the budget part, but it'd be up to you guys if you wanted to allow.
anybody
public
wants public comments? Okay,
Can I stay right here?
sure.
I'm just a Marty Arrowood, 114 Spring Street. I concur with Dr. Dyer. I am living at the East End. I can name, Mayor Holden was one, but 2-3 doors down, about 2 months after his break-in during the day, another family was broken into. Several things were stolen. The report was made, and again, it was left open because there wasn't anybody to follow up on the leads. The fact that we are publicly debating this is letting people out there know that if we don't have a detective, if they can get into a house and get off this island, there's a very, very good chance that they're never going to be caught. So I strongly suggest again, Officer Dixon has never asked for anything he didn't need. They're good stewards of their department, and I really do think we should follow through and have a detective because, as we all know, crime is increasing.
thank you. I think that's all that's here. We'll go ahead and get started, or I guess continue with review of budget, or budget ordinance items. I guess we've gotten the budget ordinance now, so.
Okay, so should we be looking at the new one then? Like, should I say page 3, or should I look at the old one and say what's easier for people?
You're in the draft ordinance now.
Okay, let's look at that. Okay. On page 3, so that available for appropriation, I'm gonna make a proposal that we give 1% tax back to the people.
1% or 1 cent?
1 cent, excuse me, 1 cent back to the people. We raised taxes 2 cents last year, which was $476,000, and that was mostly to do the pier, because that was $1 million that they put in the budget. So now we have this $220,000 extra. 1 cent is $238,000, and I think we can easily find the extra $18,000. So that's my proposal. I don't know if you want to just, we could do it.
It's whatever, your direction to administratively change the ordinance is, to me, is the consensus of the board.
Okay, consensus. So,
I mean, that's
so-
where we are. It's like,
Yep,
okay,
yep,
well,
yep.
y'all got a draft budget in front of you, and
Yep.
tell me what you want changed.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's my proposal.
and I just want to be clear, I guess I was thinking for the public, so maybe I need to be just clear for me.
some online, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that's true. I keep forgetting those pesky owls. This is for the next iteration to see what the budget looks like next week. This is not like it's happening, so I wanted to make that clear. Along those lines, I would like to make a proposal to
Wait.
oh, you're not done, I'm sorry.
No, I am done, but can we, unless it's related to this, I think we need to take one thing at a time. So do we need to get consensus on that? How does that work?
Yeah, well, we can do consensus.
Yeah,
for the vote, right?
consensus?
Consensus is
Yeah,
the
you're
same
good.
for vote.
So
David-
she'll say yes?
I say yes. I think that,
Yeah.
you know, we've,
Right,
to have it
let's-
sit here, we might as well give it back. My understanding from the report last meeting was we're gonna have significant dollars fall to the fund balance, so we can always do budget amendments, fund balance appropriations to fund things that we don't think of. But I'd rather give it back than to have it sit here in a bucket that isn't really appropriate to do big things and no reason to keep it. So I'm in favor of that.
Yeah,
So I think we have consensus, Heather. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
All
I
right.
just didn't want to muddy the waters with different things.
what I'd like to see for the next round, David, is I want to look at compensation and giving you that 3.2 COLA, but I want to see what we look like with a 1.8% merit. And these numbers come from looking at stuff with the League of Municipalities. They have an interactive tool that considers the population, the number of full-time employees, the regions are there. So I want to see how those numbers fall out. And these numbers fall in probably a little north of the average from a lot of these iterations. So, and seem to be, they're a little better than what, I think it was Sunset did with a 4% COLA and a 30K cash fund. Is that?
So
you guys
along
all-
those lines, I agree with that. I think that's a good plan. I mean, I'm looking at what happened last year, and I think there was a study done, and all the pays were adjusted pretty significantly to a cost of like $238,000. And then they also got a 5% merit and a 6.9 COLA, so they got 11.9% last year. So I think that the pays are lined up based on that study.
There wasn't a 6.9 COLA last year.
Okay. Well,
Hey,
It was 3-something.
So-
Okay, so I think that COLA of 3.2 that you proposed is fair, and then, so that everyone still stays in line with the proper pay grade level, and then the 1.8 is in, like, it's above what the municipality says is the average for the eastern coastal region, so I think that's fair. That's just,
I would just caution you to think about it in these terms. The COLA automatically gets reflected on our pay scale, so our hiring scale. We move everything to the right when we get a COLA. So, for example, we just are hiring a new public works guy. He's gonna be hired at this rate right here. If we don't, it just closes the gap. I know we have problems with this in Jeremy's department whenever we do this. It makes the person who's hired be really close to the person who's been here for a bit because you're not giving them a big merit. So they're gonna get the new person's gonna get a probationary one in 6 months and they're gonna get 5%. And it just brings everybody closer together and it kind of causes hurt feelings.
so, yeah, the senior guy goes,
Compression.
yeah, I hear you.
well,
You know what
also,
I'm saying?
the merit, the 1.8 is a merit. I mean, it's at David's discretion to put that where he feels it's most needed.
We don't do it that way. You guys give him the up to amount, and he will never give anybody past that up to amount. Like, he's not gonna give
It's
me
not a
4.
pooled
and-
merit, it's a absolute ceiling per individual,
Okay.
1.8.
That's
All
why
right.
I wanted the pool, so that he would have discretion to do that.
That would cause problems too with, okay, so everybody who gets, like, we're spread apart. So, Chris's evaluation date might be July, mine might be November, Christie's might be March.
Well, that's for
So-
David to manage.
But you
But-
wouldn't know
but-
how, you do it based on merit, so Christy might be doing a great job right now, but maybe by the time hers comes in March, or we'll do that backwards, she's doing terrible right now, she's doing awful. So he's expecting to give her 1%. and then she pulls through and does something that he I don't think you want to manage it that way, do you? You always.
Well, that's
Well-
how other towns have done it. They have pools. I mean, you just said Sunset Beach did a pool, right?
Well,
Right.
yeah, Sunset, I was intrigued, they did a bonus pool, not a merit pool. So basically, there was a bucket of money for the town manager to award bonuses based on performance, which gets everybody that same compensation a little bit. I mean, I don't know about timing, I guess that's up to town manager's discretion too, but that's another option.
Sure.
I just want to make sure that we kind of look at what everybody else is doing around us to make sure we keep up with that. Because we weren't pretty suppressed for a while, got us behind the ball there. I've lost 3 employees in the past month and a half, and ain't there one of them left because said there's maybe too much money. There's always money issue. I don't get,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm getting scrapped now. I mean, let's put that out there. I just want to make sure
Okay.
the coach and I, or whatever, what they do is try to stay in line with something like that.
Yeah, I would actually love to do an analysis as part of this, to do a full compensation analysis, because I know last time we did salary only, and I'm not sure that that's accurate way to do it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things to look at too. I know the other day on the bridge there, I had some of the county guys, they let us use a crane to fill a pump with. One of them guys, well, now, when you gonna be leaving? And I guess that's certainly the job or whatever, and I told him, started asking about benefits, and some of them older people, they get insurance for until they're dead after they retire, because it was grandfathered in what the county used to be.
Right.
Used to be, but I just want to make sure we, I'm in line with everybody else, and we just kick that out the door. So I said, we've become strapped for a long time, and it was sort of couldn't get anybody. And I don't know, I guess I'm just a bad boss man, and we got some bad working conditions, because I got to follow the door. That's what I've got.
Well, I think that we did that last year when they changed all the salaries, they did the compensation and made sure you were in line with everyone, and then also got a big COLA and cost of merit increase.
Well, if that's got us where we need to be, we don't want to start stepping back and getting the kind of shaking we're in, because that's what got us in that. got us in
Right.
that
Yeah.
situation.
And-
This couple of years, we had some commissioners here that thought if you was giving somebody a cost of living raise, he was going above and beyond, and it caused us to get behind.
Yeah.
Okay, I was taught this morning by someone who took a class with someone that we're training here. And that entity has 6 openings, all of which are not required to carry the certifications that we're required to carry here. And they've got 6 openings, and they are shocking. They stopped and asked me. Yeah, I want to be as respectful as I can when I say this. I've been here for quite a while now. And I went a long time here without a cost of living. And I felt the whole entire time, and I knew the whole entire time, when I hear things like the next door or over there. And for a long period, and you can go back and check. Not only was I more qualified than the guy that was here before, I don't think I was making as much money as him until last year, after I'd been here 11 years. One of the problems was we didn't give a cost of living raise. The other problem was that our salaries were repressed going back every year. And so merit pay doesn't really mean that much if your pay is already under the gun. And then to act as if it's all healed by saying we gave you a big boost last year, well, the damage has already been done. I had 10 years of economics that I had to deal with where I was being paid less than others. In my mind, what I'm saying is, respectfully, is that every year I hear about everybody else and what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think any of them ever cut out their cost of living raises over the years like was done here. And so the damage was done. You've got people here making a lot less than I was that went that 10 years or ever how long it was, am I wrong? Without a cost of living raise, and then to act as if you healed the wound by giving them one year a good salary. And because they weren't making the same thing as those other places were, but they are now, but they weren't before. And these other places, whenever we compare, these other places have things that we don't look at. And so it makes it real hard to, especially if you're training people and you're putting time and effort into them, It makes it real hard if there isn't some sort of an incentive that they can strive for, you know what I mean, to work harder for. And if these other entities have better, you know, they're offering more stuff, you know, I just don't see how you heal that wound with one good year of pay. Clearly, you just said we have about 29 employees here. $238,000 is what it took to make it right in 1 year. For years, it was bad, and no one wants to say it. Am I wrong?
No, sir.
I've heard that, and I'm aware of that. And trust me, I truly wish we could go back and fix past boards' mistakes. I'd love to do that, but we are where we are. My understanding is that there have been several studies made, and there's been the analysis, and everybody's in their bracket, maybe high, maybe low, and the cost of living is supposed to move with the bracket. So we can't fix everything in 1 year, especially during a budget. I agree we should take another look across the board and see, make sure we're all in the right bracket. But I do believe brackets were adjusted and reset, and there have been multiple studies. So I don't think we can correct it in this budget.
Well, there is one more thing I'd like to say. I do think the way we're set up here, I know we're kind of small, and we can't have the number of employees around the county got. The deal of it is, you know, like me, I got 1,000,006 people to run this whole beach. And somebody that's got the same job title and works in Ramsey County, they've probably got a couple hundred employees. And they don't, I don't feel like they have near the stress of workload on that my department has, because like I said, I don't have specialists that specialize in electricity or specialists for this, that, and the other. We got a box of hats and we just shift them around, and I just, you know, the guys, they go through a lot there, and I just want to make sure you get the compensation for them like should, like. It's like I use, Wednesday night, for example. I leave this beach at 3:30 Thursday morning. I come to work at 6:30 that morning. And that's not just one time a year. A lot of times, you know, we'll call them fellas around here on the hood at night, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and I said, I just want to make sure we look out for them. And I know when we compare things to other places, I feel like that we're head and shoulders above other places as far as the service that we provide, and I just like to make sure we compensate them for it. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
And I would like to follow up with that, exactly what you said. I would encourage, if you were to look at my phone, if you were to look at my time sheets, I am an exempt employee, but if you would look at the 12 o'clock phone calls, 11 o'clock calls on Saturdays and Sundays, we were working last Saturday for the town, me and another employee. If you look at all of that and you compare what he says, like if you take, for example, and I'm just going to use Carrie. Carrie's going to be a multi-level inspector, which means that when she goes to the job, you just need one. She ain't a plumbing inspector, she ain't an electrical inspector. The county sends 4 sometimes. You're doing it with one. You're doing it with one person who's getting all these certifications, and that's an example. I don't know. I started to wear a hat. I bought me a hat that has an electronic thing that will scroll across, and I can tell it what to say. So that when I come into the meeting, we'll know whether I'm the planning director, the code enforcement officer, the building inspector, the electrical inspector. I mean, I could go on and on. The diversity level that we're required to do here, I don't know how you compare us to anybody. You can't compare us to Oak Island. They're an island too, but they're not managing CAMA and floodplain. The county has its own floodplain management. We're over here managing the floodplain and all this other stuff. You just can't. I don't see how you can compare. And I think the town of Holden Beach has some of the best employees I've ever seen, especially for the years that they went without a cost of living raise and still continue to come to work and still come to function. And I think you've got they have the best set of employees out there. I know that we've got a really good set in the building inspection department. Everybody should be proud of what's being done over there and how hard they're working. And I know that this man right here, I watched this man right here straddle 211 with rushing water going under his feet. I thought that if he went in, that I would have to watch him die. to get pipe so he could come over here and pump the water so the people could be safe. I'm pointing at Chris. I was there. I was there when that happened. I don't know how you don't offer him the best he can possibly have, even when it comes to his employees. Because that's what you're asking of him. That's what you're asking of him, and that's what the employees are doing here. And the police, I never go out there. We're up and down. We go, sometimes we're 25 trips, same day to get inspections done on those people. Our department is. As many times as we go up and down, we either see or pass or watch the police department working. I mean, I pay attention. The amount of work that gets done here with 29 people is almost unfathomable to me. I'm 61 years old. I've worked in numerous municipalities. I'm telling you, I think the town of Holden Beach, the citizens, don't fully understand how magnificent this staff is. I really don't. And I hate to be on that board. And as far as my salary, I'm happy with my salary. I'm not unhappy with my salary. I'm perfectly happy with my salary and where I'm at for what I do. But I'm pretty sure the people that are working under me right now are not making comparatively to other people. And I think it's because the years where the boards decided not to give cost of living. And that's the only thing I'm.
Okay. No,
You said that it was 11 over the last 5 years?
as I said before, it's my understanding we're talking about the bracket. For this job, here's the pay bracket for that job, and that there have been multiple studies not that long ago that set those brackets. So my understanding is the brackets we're in the brackets now. The merit puts you within, if you get a lot of merit raises, you start to move up, you bump out of the bracket. So I'm totally open to reviewing the brackets once again. It's very important to get the brackets right. But all we're talking about now is cost of living, moving the brackets according to inflation and increase in cost of living, and then giving enough merit that you can move employees that have earned it within the bracket. So I guess we can't solve a history of before, and this isn't the time to just jump to new brackets. I mean, we've got to live with the brackets that were established at the last study. So, go ahead, Lenny.
Yeah, a couple things, David. Do we need something in the budget to do another compensation study?
If you wanna go out and and pay for somebody to do it, you're gonna have to put some money in there, because it's not in there.
How else would we do it?
We just can appropriate it later after we divide
Yeah,
it.
if it's not in the budget, we want to do it, we would do a budget amendment.
Yeah.
Like a lot of.
Well, I think that's something we need to look at. And can you give me a history of what we have and have not done for the employees for the past 3 years?
As far as.
As what we've done for compensation? We've given some.
I'd have to look back.
Yeah.
I'd have to look back.
But I'm not asking for it now. Just to get a feel for where we're at.
And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that the studies were wrong. Well, I guess what I'm saying is that I don't want to see the town repeat history. I guess that's what I'm saying.
I hear you, and I think
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, with the salaries or the first one was a position study, the second one I think was closer to a
Yeah.
salary study. But I don't know that there was anything wrong or they were inaccurate. I'm just saying I don't want to see the repeat of years without cost of living raises or good merit raises.
So we're not
to keep-
proposing either one of those things, right? We're proposing 5%, which I think is a reasonable amount, and it includes the cost of living that David had in there
Yeah.
originally. And I feel like I've seen big raises over the last 5 years, and we can't sustain that as a small town. So we're not saying zero. I don't know if you ever had zero. I mean, David would have to give us that data to show that you had 10 years of zero, but I would be surprised if that happened.
We did. We had several years without COLA or merit.
Well, we had that too in industry when, the 2008, when the economy tanked. I think everyone had that.
And then we had several years where they didn't actually add on to the salary. They just did like a lump bonus for that year. So that's what we've dealt with over the past few years.
Right.
I don't know about the last 3 years, the last 2 years, we did get raises after the pay study. but I'd have to go back and look at the third one to see what
Okay.
it is.
Well, for this iteration of the budget, let's take a look at it. And what I asked for,
3.2 and 1.8.
I don't know all this history. I don't know exactly where we are. I haven't seen the salary study. So I'm not smart enough to say this is exactly where we should be. I do want every position paid competitively. We can't go back in time and make up for 10 years of no raises. I mean, that's an interest compounding thing, and, you know, that was one of the true miracles for Einstein. But for now, just for this thing, I want to see how the budget looks when we crank through that.
And I studied the League of Municipalities survey. They surveyed 189 municipalities. You could break it down by group, by size of town, by number of employees. And for where we fit, their overall average for COLA and merit was 3.9. So we're above average for the municipalities that participated in that survey. So I think it's a fair one to move forward with.
I concur.
Yeah,
Okay,
and we'll see what it looks like.
so by consensus? Okay. All right. So I've got one. I would like to, on the B part, Block Q projects, there's been discussion, debate on the Block Q projects. I'd like to just, at this time, take,
What page are you on?
I'm
sorry.
on page 16, Block Q project, $760,000, which is, my understanding, includes $200,000 for stormwater study. So I'd like to take stormwater study out, take it down to 560, recognizing that we may need more, but I would much rather go through the process, get the bids, come back and say, we need 50,000 more, whatever it is, and do a budget amendment, put it back in. I'm just not comfortable with the 200,000 for the Block Q project. So it's not going to stop the project, it's not going to potentially even change the price, it's just, rather than put it in the budget now, I'd like for that project to come back before the board for, if necessary, a budget amendment and maybe a fund balance appropriation or whatever we choose to do to refund it. But I'd like to, next iteration, have that down to 560 instead of
So
760.
you don't want to put anything in there for stormwater?
That's correct.
All right. I don't agree with that, Tom. My just placekeeper number to keep in there is about 50 grand.
It's not to stop the project, it's just to have it come back before us with whatever the right stormwater is. It could be 50, it could be less. I've heard too many conflicting things to feel comfortable with that number.
Well, eventually Tim's going to actually get a number from the engineer, correct?
Yeah, we'll get a
And then we
quote.
can
So-
move that over if we need to.
Well, me, I'd leave 50K in there. It's kind of a shell game between
Just
B
the
part
bathroom,
ones.
right?
Yep, just the bathroom
Yeah.
parcels.
I'd leave the 50 in there. You're not going, I don't want to say not going, but that's a
It's
good
in the
number.
neighborhood,
That's a
yeah.
good number. Yes.
For the stormwater, for just the parcels in the bathroom and
The
those parking
bathroom
spots.
And the parking area, if that's what we're talking about.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that
That is what we're
construction or is
talking
that
about.
just a study?
No, it's construction.
Construction?
That'll be for your stormwater.
Okay, so that put it at 810?
No, it would be the
I'm sorry,
560 plus
560
50.
plus,
610.
610 instead of 8, okay, 610. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that, too.
All right, bear with me. Tom King, what page was that on?
Six-
I'm on page
16.
16, instead of 760
Got it.
for
Okay,
Block Q, we go to
okay.
610. That's all I had. Jeremy and I have been having conversations, email about the detective position. I understand that I've seen the letters, I've read the letters. I understand that we need a detective capability. I'm still crunching the report you gave me. I'm still coming to the conclusion, good news, bad news, we just don't have enough crime for a full-time dedicated detective. I'm seeing, maybe one incident a month or something. So I'd like to defer till next Wednesday when maybe the rest of the board is here, we can talk about it. Is there any way we can, do it other than a full-time new person with a vehicle, either, take somebody within the department and train them to be a detective and let them, be detective and patrol or do more overtime or just some way because, a full-time person with a vehicle is very expensive for the numbers that are on the reports. I mean, and like I said, I assume it's the felony, larceny, the serious domestic type crimes. I don't know if they would be experts for the cyber credit card identity theft. I think fire was in there, which I assume would probably follow the fire department. So I'm just, as I try to parse the numbers out, and then I've got some contacts within family that work for, they're working 5, 10 cases a week, and we just don't have those numbers. So that's where I'm at on it. I mean, I recognize the demand for it and how people want it, and we should have it. I'm just trying to reconcile how we can do it without a full-time, brand-new person. I'm afraid that it wouldn't have enough to do, quite frankly, so.
So I definitely get your concerns, but that's why I say they will have plenty to do, I promise you. Even with the caseload, just the work that goes into it. Like the report I gave you had, without looking at the numbers, 99, I think, but then I had it down to just the 50 or so major. So it was kind of half of the actual reports that were taken. Just to show you an example of the ones that were most imperative. That doesn't mean they wouldn't look at the rest of those because it was smaller. There's plenty of work for them to do. We have an evidence locker over there. We have a patrol officer that's overseeing the evidence locker, and it's fine, but a detective would take over those responsibilities too, to take over the evidence locker. So they could still backfill on patrol positions if somebody was out sick or something like that, so they could backfill that way. As far as having an officer do the investigations, it's just, to run a thorough investigation, you're going to pay them more in overtime, plus just the extra stress that you put on them trying to juggle 2 jobs. Still maintaining families and home lives and everything else. It's just, I think it's an unreasonable expectation on any officer to try to do both tasks. So I don't think having them do it is a reasonable request. If the board decides that, the town doesn't need a detective, then that's fine. We all are in the same boat to know that we're going into it without a detective.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, there's common agreement, we need a detective capability. We need to be able to do investigations, we need to be able to solve crimes, that's a given. It's just, the numbers of crimes are striking me as much, much, much less than you would need for a full-time, there's not enough to keep them busy, where I'm at. So maybe, I can do some more studying, we can do some more research. I'd like to explore different options to solve it or to move forward. I was reading, I know Carolina Beach has outsourced their whole police department to the Brunswick County Sheriff. I mean, they got a deal where they're paying for hours, and Brunswick County on overtime is covering. So, is there an option we can ask for hours to solve, a block of time or something like that? I just don't want, I think a full-time equivalent is very expensive, and I just don't see the numbers to keep them busy. So, go ahead.
Okay, so I feel the same way. I've looked at those. I actually sent it to my nephew, who's a detective in Wrightsville Beach, and he said, no, it doesn't justify a full-time person. He has 5 to 10 every week that he's managing, and they're really ugly crimes that he's managing and trying to solve. So I just feel like I would task you what are some alternatives to, instead of hiring a full-time detective, is there something that we can do that's outside the box? Like Tom said, maybe Brunswick County or something. I do want to explain to the public that everyone's like, oh, you're taking away the detective. We're not removing any position. We haven't had a detective for 5 years. And Paige is saying in her letter, though, we need a detective and we should listen to Jeremy. Well, you've asked for this for 5 years, and the previous board didn't feel that it was warranted either, which includes Paige and Rick when they were here and had the majority. So I still don't think that we have the numbers that would justify it. I understand we want our town to be safe, and we're not eliminating police officers. We still have police. We still have people that are going to make sure that we're safe. You can call the police at any time, and you should call if there's something weird happening. I just don't think the detective is something that we're at right now, and I would love if you could come up with alternate solutions for us on how we could, have our cake and eat it too, so to speak. Maybe for Wednesday, you could think about that.
Okay.
Next Wednesday when we meet.
This is, as some of you may know, I've been on the fence on this, and the numbers don't add up just based on the report. But you're the boss. I expect you to get good utility out of your employees, and if you're not, you'll fix it somehow. When I ran for office, one of the important things was public safety. I'd rather be proactive than reactive to crime, to go, oh, now we need a detective. So, and the previous board did not approve this detective for years, and I would like to know their reasoning, but apparently there's been a change of heart. But I'm not sitting here because I loved every decision they made. So I'm going to back you, Chief.
Thank you.
I would ask that you look at what they've asked for and determine if there's an alternative. And if that's your choice, then that's what we'll do. But I'd rather have us have a detective and not need him so much than not have him and need him.
So no change to the budget.
We're not going to make
That
a
was it.
decision on this.
Administrative
We're not
guidance.
gonna- we
Leave it
could-
alone.
We're kicking the
we-
can to next Wednesday.
We could vote, and we could vote and make that decision because we have the majority, but we're not gonna. We want to see, some more research from Jeremy and see if you can come up with some alternatives. Would love to have you do that.
Yes. I will.
We definitely want that capability to do investigations, to do crime solving. It's we're just looking for the most efficient, effective way to do that. That's all I had.
That's all I had.
I'm good.
So Heather, are we recessing or are we meeting another meeting on Wednesday?
It's so much easier for me. I'm
Recess.
sorry, you ask Heather.
No,
You ask Heather.
you
David,
can feel free.
David.
It's so much easier for me if we recessed or reconvened to
Okay.
get the documents
Sure.
done.
So
Yeah.
can I ask you before we recess?
Unless the clerk
Heather,
I can
tells
speak
me
now.
otherwise.
I was gonna say recess anyway. Just the only concern, I guess, we have about the timing is this is gonna be Wednesday that we talk about this. The agenda has to go out for the real meeting no later than Thursday.
okay, so that's what I'm gonna ask David of, when do you think you can get us an updated version with these changes in it? Today's.
Well, y'all haven't made a lot of changes today. I mean, it's,
Well, we made-
other than the
We made-
COLA.
Which goes across all the different,
Let's, let's
buckets.
let's make sure we capture those, okay? We got the COLA merit change, then we got the 1 cent redux,
Yep. I've got the 160 reduction in block Q.
160 reduction in block Q.
150,
But-
150,
150.
150
Yeah,
reduction.
right.
Yeah,
Um,
those.
You know, it's an administrative chore that we do need to have quality
Yeah.
control on.
And then you'll
We'll-
put these in there too, then?
Yeah. Your question is, how long is it gonna take to get these changes in it to meet on Wednesday?
Correct.
You probably have it done Monday,
Okay, perfect.
Monday, Tuesday.
All right.
But that, I don't
That might
think,
be the agenda that we're using for the public hearing, but changes can be made. So that's all I was saying. I don't know if, after the Wednesday meeting, I don't know if he'll have them for, depending how much you
Yeah,
change on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
technically,
So we'll-
today's the agenda day, but
Yeah, yeah.
we'll hold it as long as I can.
Yeah, so I think we got my concerns are, the only thing hanging out is the detective, in my
And it's
mind.
in the budget, so if we do nothing,
Yeah.
it's in the budget.
Yeah.
So there
Okay.
wouldn't need to be changes for Thursday, whatever you have on
okay.
Right.
Monday or Tuesday would be what would go on,
In the
Okay.
packet.
in the BOC meeting.
And then even, because even if we put that in the packet and you have the public hearing and you want to make changes, you guys could still approve the ordinance at the like at the regular board meeting with whatever following changes.
Okay, cool.
So even though we're putting it out there as the public hearing, you can make whatever changes to the document at that point.
And so we
still.
would approve it pending the changes that we make on Tuesday at the BOC meeting?
I mean, you're right, correct, right. You would actually pass it that day, just
Okay.
give them the
Is that what they
direction.
typically do?
We don't usually, we've done it before in the past. Usually by the time we get to the meeting, it's the correct version, but.
But
It could be done on the 20th.
But this is the first time that the public's having input on it at that meeting.
Right, so, yeah, so like if you, we have we changed it on Wednesday, we put that new copy in the Thursday packet, we come to the public hearing the following Tuesday, and the public doesn't want Jeremy's thing in there, so you decide to take it out of there. You could approve the agenda with those changes, and then we
Perfect.
just administrative.
That would
make the
probably,
administrative changes.
that would be good. Okay, great.
So, yeah, so you guys, if you're done, it's just a recess to the date, time certain, so you just have to say Wednesday at 3.
And just a reminder for anything from us, for the BOC meeting, you need the agenda topic cover
Today.
sheet today.
Okay.
You've got your items, you don't have to ping me like that.
Okay, all right.
You're good. But yes,
All right.
There's, you,
Motion to recess,
till 3 o'clock Wednesday,
3 o'clock Wednesday.
Second?
okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Okay.
No, we're recessed.
Okay.